Hey guys, let's go over the Module 1A test, 1117 version B. Number 1, which is a graph of f of x equals negative x squared plus 4x minus 2. There's a couple of characteristics you should see. This is called standard form. There's no parentheses. I'm going to write out standard form here. And you'll notice that the a values in front of x squared is negative. This means that negative people have sad faces. So not A, not B. It could be C or D. The second one that could help you is the C value. The C value is the y-intercept, or the y-axis. So here is negative 2, and here is also negative 2. Okay. You could try to find order pairs, like which one goes through 1, 1. Put in x equals 1, you can output of 1. Or I did it here by the axis of symmetry. X equals negative b over 2a. The b value is 4. Your a value is negative 1. Some people like to do it negative 4 divided by negative 2, and you get x equals 2. So your axis of symmetry would be here at 2, which would be D. This one is negative 2. Question number 2, use the graph to find all the solutions of x squared plus x minus 3. Well, there's the reason why we don't like to solve by graphing is because they sometimes do go through not whole numbers, but in between them, in the middle. So this is between 0 and 1, and this one is between negative 2 and negative 3. So the roots is where it crosses the x-axis here. So here and here. The scoring for that one is, if you get both of those correct, you got your 2 points, and then if you missed one or you circle an extra one, you got a 1.5, something like that. Number 3, what are the solutions of x squared plus 121 equals 0? You could have solved this by factoring. That's a 1. 0, and then you would have had a negative 11i and positive 11i. And set it equal to 0. Or over here I did the square root method, move it over to the right side, take the square root. Negative 121 is negative 1 times 11 times 11. The square root of negative 1 comes outside, that's I, and this is a pair. They're huddled up together. They come on the outside of the radical, so no radical sign. Remember, you have to have plus or minus, and that would be answer C and D. Question number 4, electricity. What is the voltage of V of an electric circuit with current C of 5 minus 2J and impedance L of 4 plus J? Use the formula V equals CL. So you'll notice that you are multiplying C times L. C times L. 5 minus 2J times 4 plus J. Now in class we didn't use a J, we used I's. So now we just multiply times 25i, negative 8i, and negative 2i squared. The second thing you're going to do is plus, or add. So let's go ahead and add these together. So I just wrote it out. Positive 5i, negative 2i squared. And then I squared is equal to negative 1. That should be on your formula sheet. So that's multiplication. So that becomes a positive 2. Negative 2 times a negative 1 is a positive 2. So 20 plus 2 minus 3i. So that should be 22 minus 3i. So it is D. I need to go back and make sure that's correct on your papers. Number 5. Factor and solve. A is 1, B is 9, C is negative 36. A times C is negative 36. Your B value is 9. My two numbers that multiply be negative 36 are 12 and 3. And they add to be 9. This one has to be negative. So there's your 12, there's your negative 3. Set it equal to 0. Subtract 12, add 3. These are my two solutions. So the factored form is here with sets of parentheses, and then your solutions are negative 12 and 3. Number 6, what is the average rate of change? You have given this function and on this interval. Remember, this is not an order pair. So if your graph looks something like maybe something like this. No, probably like this. And then you're trying to find from -1 to 3, you want to find the slope of that line right there. So what you do is you're going to put in this value into your function. Put in -1. Guys are struggling with the order of operations here. You square it and then you multiply. The common mistake is to multiply and then do exponents. Another common mistake is not using parentheses. 1, -5, that becomes -7. -5 minus 7 is -12. So this order pair is -1, -12. Over here, you're going to put in 3 for the x2 value. Putting it back into that function. 3 squared is 9. 9 times -5 is -45. 7 times 3 is 21. That's -24. I guess my order pair should have been 3, -24. It should be like that. Not that one. So this one. Okay, then from here, you're just going to label these x1, y1. It's an order pair. x2, y2. Next, we're going to find slope. Here's my formula. Common mistake in the formula is it has to have minus signs. So again, use your parentheses. y2 is -24 minus a -12. x2 is 3 minus, that has to be there, and then whatever this is, put in parentheses, -1. So that becomes plus. So -24 plus 12 is -12. 3 plus 1 is 4. You get -3 as your slope. Okay, number 7, the backside, simplify this expression. -1 times 7 times 7. Now the reason why I can put them in the same house is they have the same index. There's an invisible 2 there. It just means you can put it -49 times -64. What you don't want to do is multiply these two and get something like 576 maybe or something like that. I don't know what it is, but don't multiply. So then I have this one. 64 is 8 times 8. Remember my story. Simplifying radicals here. There's a inside the house you are safe, but to go outside into the scary neighborhood you have to have pairs. Okay? When you get a pair, like this with different colors, if you're a pair, you go outside the house, but you are so scared that it looks like you're so huddled up there's only one of you. Okay? Okay, square root of -1 is I. Square root of -1 is I. And here's another pair. The square root of 64 is 8. And then basically you just go through and multiply here. So 7 times 8 is 56. I times I is I squared. I squared is equal to -1 by multiplication. So you have -56 is your answer. Question number 8. Domain refers to the x-axis. I'm going to write some information out here that might be super helpful. These are negative numbers, positive numbers. We're going to go left to right. So I start over here. Doesn't matter if it's up or down, you're just looking for an arrow. Anytime you have an arrow, that would be negative infinity. Arrow again, in this case that would be positive infinity. They're always in parentheses. The range refers to the y values. So negative numbers, positive numbers. Okay, pay attention. The graph doesn't start nothing, nothing, nothing until this point on the graph. Go to your yellow, your y-axis, that is your 3, your output. Pay attention, you need a bracket. And what you stop at is the arrows, and that would be positive infinity. Parentheses always with infinity. You could have a positive sign, you wouldn't get marked off. Number 9. Someone wrote this. Give you some partial credit. You can do this. I squared. Remember, I squared is equal to -1. So you can have that here and here. Remember, the original math operation is multiplication, so you can just multiply. Negative times a negative is a positive, so your answer is 3. Okay, number 10, A. Given the quadratic equation, what is the vertex? Okay, the vertex is an ordered pair, but you find it from the axis of symmetry. A value is 1, B is 2, and C is -3. My B value is 2, A value is 1. Use your finger, that becomes 2 over 2, which is 1, so the answer is -1. That's why I'm writing up here -1. You got 1.5 points if you got this answer. To get the 2 points, says then sub it back in. So basically that means is take this value and put it in for every x value. -1, -1. So y equals -1 squared times 2 times -1 minus 3. -1 times -1 is +1. That's -2 minus 3. So -1 minus 3 is -4. Order pair is x, y. Okay, so that goes into the middle of my graph always. So -1, -4. And if you don't know how to get values on the x's to the left or the right, you know that the graph is going to have the axis of symmetry here. And then that outer pair is -1, -4. So this is, the graph's either going to go like this or like this. Okay, so 2 numbers to the left are -2, -3. 2 numbers to the right are 0 and 1. They have to be consecutive, which means that they are just counting by ones. Okay, find. So if you got this table correct, I'm going to show you in a second. You need to find one y value output by hand. What does that mean? You have to show your work. So the easiest one is 0. Zero, 0, and then -3. Put this into my calculator. I'm going to show this by Casio. Mode, table number 3. I'm going to put in my function here. Let's see if I can get it both on screen. X squared. So alpha, right parentheses, squared, plus 2 times alpha, parentheses, minus 3. Press equals. Skip this, press equals. My start, it has to be a minimum or the lower number. So -3. Remember, negative is over here on this calculator. Enter. End at 1. Step means how are you counting over here. These are counting by 1. Enter. There is our numbers. Negative 3, 0. Negative 2, negative 3. 0, negative 3, and 1, 0. Alright, let's go ahead and graph these order pairs now. Negative 3, 0. Negative 2, negative 3. Negative 1, negative 4. We have that. 0, negative 3. And 1, 0. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful. See ya.
Has math become harder since they added letters? Have your grades dropped? Make your parents proud. Go to the GOAT's website, www.mrmathing.net. You will bring your love of math back.